I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Trick Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Hello. Good evening to everyone out there in internet land. My name is Pioneer, and this is I Am Sure Sports, and this is another in our series around the NBA. Tonight, I got a couple of friends and special guests with me in-house tonight. Well, not in-house. We have them online. We have the man who we call Preacher, Harden Sports Fund, Harden basketball guru, I would call him. We also have the man, Chris Lynch, in-house. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome forward.
Yeah, man. Big up Pioneer, man. Big up.
Yeah.
I'm
Big up.
You know?
We're expecting to be joined by Kems and G-Star later on. Interesting days in NBA. I want to start by looking at a brief review, because we have not done a show since the All-Star game. The last show we did was
echoing. I don't know if it's me, Pioneer.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing a little feedback on myself too. Still hearing it?
Sounds
Still
good.
hearing the echo now?
No, sounds good.
All right. So we haven't had a show since last show was last week, Saturday. And the All-Star game was last Saturday night. So we have not had a show since the All-Star game itself. Last week Saturday, we had looked at the dunk contest and the three-point contest. So gentlemen, we'll briefly, even though it's kind of a little bit far removed, we'll take a brief look at what happened in the All-Star game last Saturday over the All-Star weekend. Christian, give me a quick view now as to how you saw the All-Star game.
Yeah, man, it was an exciting game. Expected that, like we were saying, that you don't expect a lot of defense. It's more for the fans. Steph Curry went off. He won the MVP, but it was a good showing for fans of basketball.
All right, I tend to concur with that. Preacher, anything you want to add to that regarding the All-Star game, how you saw it?
Well, I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes on to basketball. So never really enjoyed the changing of the format in the beginning. Um, I've watched All-Star games in the past where when it comes down to the fourth quarter, the last 4 minutes, we know say defense start playing on coach them start work. You know what I mean? So it never took away anything from me in the past in terms of the game. I think this format of the game is really just about scoring. Because Lynch said we never expected the defense. First, what 163?
163, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even like that. I don't know how they come by the number 163. What's so magical about 163? Why not 161 or 159? But anyway, it was exciting for those of us who wanted to see scoring. And Steph Curry, again, proving that on his night, he's virtually unstoppable.
Gentlemen, for me personally, I was entertained. The All-Star game is supposed to be the entire All-Star weekend is supposed to be some sort of a show for the fans. Players will play the game. However, they're not risking. They don't want to risk injury. So I guess that speaks to the lack of or very little defense that is played. But all in all, it's supposed to be a show. It's supposed to be entertainment. I think Steph Curry put on a show with his 50 points, 16 threes. At one point in the game, he was 16 from 22. Ended up with 16 from 27. Quite a show, breaking all the 3-point records. Well, I guess I don't know if this stands as a record because it's not a official game in a sense, but the most 3-pointers ever hit in an NBA game, All-Star, regular season, or playoff. So that in itself was an achievement. I was thoroughly entertained. Considering that the game was in Cleveland, LeBron James actually ended up hitting the game winner. That in itself also added to the spectacle. And I'm sure the fans who were in-house and the fans who were watching out there in Radioland thoroughly enjoyed the All-Star weekend. We are joined by the man G-Star himself. We're also joined by Kems. So tonight we have a full house, ladies and gentlemen. All the stars are out. Preacher left us temporarily. He'll be back with us in a little while. All right, G-Star and Kems, we were just kind of briefly giving an overview of what happened in the All-Star game, considering that we have not had a show since the game itself. So I'll give you gentlemen 30 seconds each. Just give me your view on exactly what transpired.
30 seconds, I'm here, preacher, talk for about 3 minutes.
All right, Kems. Yeah, a minute, Virgin. We have a lot of other things to discuss. So
let me talk really quickly. Me and preacher talk about the last 4 minutes MC defense. I've never seen as much defense in an All-Star game since them put the target score. And if you want to know the reason why they start put the target score now, I believe because after every quarter, the charity, whichever team win the quarter, the charity get a certain amount of money, and then that score build up to 163. So that is how them get up to 163, right? So each quarter, so if LeBron team win the quarter, your team charity get the money. Okay. Durant team win the second quarter, team, and then so them build up to a certain amount of points until they go to 163. So I don't understand a preacher talk about before All-Star game last 5 minutes defense. I've never seen defense being played until them start put the score 163. I see Giannis always play hard, but I see real NBA defense. Now to you, Pioneer. Long time I don't see you on this show, I know you're going to come with your sensationalism talking about Steph Curry. And don't talk about no NBA record, bad man. Only thing you're supposed to talk about is All-Star records. I don't want to hear nothing about the NBA or that. It's an All-Star game. Absolutely no defense is being played during that time. You notice when defense started...
I put a caveat for my statement. I did say, it's the most trees hit and I did say it's not an official game. So,
yep.
All right.
But listen, really quick, because I know my time is up. You notice when defense started to be played, Steph Curry could have scored no more. Missed 6 straight 3-pointers and
five.
choke
Five.
just like how we choked
No.
in the 2016 finals.
Right.
Choke just like how
Kems,
we choked versus
Kems, you're going on a
Toronto.
whole different part here. So
Well,
we
he's choking. He's choking.
No,
he missed
I hear what.
Hold on, G-Star. Let me adjust that. For me, I think he was tired. And he played probably most minutes of anybody in the game. His last 5 shots kind of went front iron, so you know that speaks to the legs being tired. So I'm gonna call it a choke. Come on, Kems. The man scored 50 points in the game. What are you talk about choke? Anyway,
all right. So let me ask. That's one last question, Pioneer. One last question.
Yeah.
One last question, Pioneer.
Yeah.
So if a guy score 50 points in a game and lose and then end up losing the game that cost him the series, would you still give him thumbs up like good props?
Kems, for your information, Team Lebron, which Steph Curry was a part of, end up winning the game.
I know.
Me and let you the 50 point score Steph scored, but nicely capped off by LeBron hitting the game winning shot, my brother. G-Star, how you saw the weekend going? Kems?
No, hear what?
Not the weekend, the game. The All-Star game.
All right, for me, you don't know I'm a Warrior fan. I didn't get to watch the second half, right?
Yeah.
But some of my people tell me that Steph Curry missed the last 5, the shot to win it.
Yeah.
He missed about the last 5.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, obviously it's an all-star game. Nobody really cares that much. But he was trying hard to end it and didn't end it.
He was trying to take the game in.
He was trying to get the most points ever scored in an All-Star game.
Yeah, he was going. He
wanted to break Anthony Davis' record
at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, he wanted to break Anthony Davis' record as well.
He wanted to break the record. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it's just interesting. And then for me, you said it before, Pioneer, LeBron coming back home, hitting the game winner, over a double team. For me, it was nice to see because that was kind of the ghost of Kobe. Because at the All-Star game, when him and Kobe was going at it, everybody's like, shoot the ball, LeBron, double team or not, just shoot. It don't matter. And he did that, made the shot. It was nice to see. And then the camaraderie of the 75, that was also nice to see.
Yeah, man. For me, all in all, for me, it was a good weekend. Good All-Star. It's one of the more entertaining All-Star games I have watched. As I said, All-Star game is supposed to be a show. And I think Steph Curry put on a show for the fans. Shooting, putting up the trees, turning his back. I think the people who were in-house and for people like me who were watching on TV, who were thoroughly entertained. Gentlemen, so we are going to slide on to some other things that are happening around the
just to make it clear, Pioneer, the 160 here Preacher State and I hear Kemp State. But the 163 is part of honoring Kobe. So basically at the end of the third quarter, what they did was add 24 points to honor Kobe. So basically they add 24 points to the 139, and that's how they came by the 163.
I know they had some kind of matrix going on or something.
Yeah, that's what they were honoring Kobe. That was just the big part of it.
All right, I hope that answers your question, Preacher, as to why the 163.
Thanks, Christmas.
Gentlemen, the league resumed on Thursday. We have had 2 nights of games. So I want to take a look at some of those games that has happened. And I don't know if you gentlemen have the games up or you have them on your devices where you can look at them. But of note for me was the Lakers-Clippers game last night. I don't know if any of you gentlemen, I know that I saw Chris Link and G-Star posting at 1 o'clock in the morning this morning about the game. Quite an interesting game. I want you gentlemen give me your views. It was a close game. The game ended up ending 105-102 in favor of the Clippers. Clippers won what was for me a close one and a burner. A game
they're seventh straight against the Lakers.
Here you go. And a game that for me the Lakers badly needed to win. Let's start with Kems. Kems, give me your views as to how you saw the game, and tell me especially how you saw the end of that game last night.
All right. So for me, the game obviously Lakers started out flat. Right, Lakers knew. I think the game was more important for the Lakers than it is the Clippers, right? Because Clippers is in 8th place, Lakers is in ninth and a distance. So it started out bad for the Lakers. However, they were 16 points down. They crawled their way back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? However, on that stretch now, I think the Clippers went on a 10-2 run. And that is where I have to blame LeBron. Because for me, again, I always say in crunch time, if you are a superstar, I don't care if you're tired, I don't care if you're 60 years old. Once you're on the court, you are a superstar, you get the job done. You must can get a basket to stop the bleeding, especially in a game that is of this magnitude, especially with all the rumors that have been surrounding LeBron for the whole All-Star break and everything. This is now your time, LeBron. Let's seize all the noise, show them that you are really, really invested in this Lakers team, and he was unable to do so. All right, bam. So that pass. Coming down to the last, I think it was the last 30 seconds of the game now.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, this is why I say Frank Vogel should be fired. As a coach, you must have one, situational awareness, and two, you must know the blasted rules. Don't come in my press conference and tell me about, I didn't know the rules. No, you must know the rules. So, okay. So, you know, like in NFL, let me do a comparison. So, G-Star, you know, in NFL, when there's a little sketchy call, you know, the quarterback run up and spike the ball quickly so you can't challenge or anything. Cool. Frank Vogel, instead of doing that and just inbound the ball, trust LeBron to make the right play. Or inbound the ball and then call a flipping timeout. What Frank Vogel do? Call a timeout and then allow Ty Lue to go back and watch the replay and then challenge the play. And then now it's not Lakers ball, it is now the Clippers ball. So that is the first thing. And I think that kind of get the team out of momentum. However, with all of that being said, 18 seconds left. Lakers have the ball. Lakers down 1.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is waiting. Never like that. But okay, LeBron is one of the smartest players in the NBA. Okay, he's going to make the right decision. He gets triple team. So obviously, he released the ball. He released the ball to Melo. Melo is like 10 feet behind the 3-point line. When there is THT wide open, again, pass the basketball. Melo take a shot, miss the shot, and then game over. So for me, a lot of persons are saying Lakers done. I don't think they're done. I think they'll definitely, I still think that they will make the playoffs.
Play in or
I
play
think
out?
I think they'll make the playoffs.
Okay.
All right. But
via the play-in.
Huh?
They're making the playoffs via the play-in, or they're making
No.
the playoffs?
No,
Finishing
they're
the
making
top
the
six.
playoffs via the play-in.
Okay, my boss. But just want to put some clarity on that.
No, most definitely via the play-in.
Right. Cool.
But I don't think they're going to finish 9th. I think they're going to finish in the top 8, right? But one last thing, let me clear up really quickly, because I'm glad I get some clarity on it, because I watch up a whole bunch of podcasts from Mona Sheldon and so. Chris Lynch like to come here and run him out and say, oh, LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook. LeBron wanted him. Okay, cool. LeBron did want Russell Westbrook. But what happened? So did LeBron want him. Rob Pelinka, Genie Boss wanted him as well. Guess why? Because they know that LeBron and Anthony Davis would not stay healthy, so they wanted a person who could hold down those minutes. So yes, LeBron wanted Westbrook 60%. But then
hold on. LeBron initiated the move to get the Westbrook.
But guess why LeBron initiated the move?
Hold on. So hold on. The Kems, make it be clear. So for the
Kems,
people,
we don't try cases
for the people, So let us be clear on the sequence of events, Kems. LeBron James initiated the move to get Russell Westbrook.
After Pelinka had Buddy E lined up. That's the important part of it.
And the Lakers back office were pursuing other moves. They were pursuing Buddy Hield and they were pursuing DeMar DeRozan. We found out recently that they messed. Hold on, Stems, man. We found out that they messed up the DeRozan deal by not offering him a 3-year contract. However, the move to get Russell Westbrook to the Lakers was initiated by LeBron James, who took it to the back office, who trusted his basketball instinct. Now, this is LeBron James we're talking about here. The man that pressure.
But Pioneer, let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
And be honest, Pioneer. And G-Star, you can answer when you're your time to talk and even preach. Because I know Chris Lynch bias, so I don't want to hear from him where this question is concerned. But listen, with LeBron, Westbrook, and Anthony Davis only play 15 games this season. 15. I'll share them 15 games. So answer me this question, Pioneer. If you know that you're going to get injured LeBron, injured Anthony Davis, which one would be your option? Russell Westbrook or Buddy Hield? Honestly, which one you would say, okay, I'm not going to get a full healthy LeBron the whole season. I'm not going to get an Anthony Davis the whole season. Which one would you say? Well, this person can hold
Can
on
I
the
give a
minutes.
response to that?
Yeah, Preacher, I'm going to respond. I'm going to respond to Preacher, but since you requested the Preacher, go ahead, Preacher, and respond. I'm going to make G-Star say a bit or two on it before we get to that.
We're not talking about 3-on-3 basketball, man. What we're talking about is a team.
There you go.
You see, what you're trying to do in the games is isolate these 3 individual players without recognizing that the Lakers roster is a bad roster. The Lakers shipped off a number of players from their team, championship team, and the team that played last year.
Preacher, okay, yes, Preacher. Well,
hold on.
James, hold on, because after Preacher done, I'm gonna get to.
But just want the answer to my question.
Yeah, man,
no. Your question, the way you structure your question, is as if it's a 3-on-3 basketball game, and you're going for the best 3 players you can get. Russell Westbrook obviously has his issue. Could Buddy Hield be a better complement for the team that the Lakers has? Perhaps yes. Russell Westbrook would not have been a good complement based on the rest of supporting members of the team that you have. So it's not a matter of Buddy Hield versus Russell Westbrook alone. It's a matter of who you have on the team and how the team is structured. And the Lakers was a poorly built team, which Russell Westbrook would make even poorer.
All right, so Kems, before I answer you, let's welcome forward Drew Anyweather Sports. Drew Anyweather Sports is telling us that playing into the playoffs, courtesy of the play-in, and will lift the crown as 2022 NBA champs. And he puts the purple and gold on a basketball logo, a basketball sign which says he's talking about the Lakers. And like Kems, who's living in Dreamland against Drew Anyweather Sports. Well, I wish you guys the best. But Kems, to answer your question, my brethren, if getting Westbrook is gonna cost me the entirety of my roster that I had last year, a lot of the pieces
didn't worth it.
The Buddy Hield trade was a very amicable trade. There wasn't much that would have been shipped off for Buddy Hield. Basically, the Lakers gave away the cabinet and the couch and the buffet to get Russell Westbrook, virgin, and that is why they have ended up in the position that they're in.
Who did? One on the Pioneer. Who did they give up? Who did they give? Because they wanted Kyle Kuzma was one of the trade pieces for Buddy Hield. So tell me, remind me who they gave up for Russell Westbrook.
Caldwell Pope.
Yeah, he needed to go. He was poor. He needed to go.
Montrezl Harrell.
He was poor. He wasn't in Vogel plans.
Alex Caruso went too.
But Alex Caruso was a
Caruso was a free agent.
Free agent, yeah. But hold on, but
they didn't want because of the acquisition to play the luxury tax either.
Well, but because Caruso. Of the acquisition of Westbrook, they couldn't re-sign Caruso. They were left with a situation where they were going to either sign Caruso or THT. So they just
That's right. Based on the cap space.
All right.
Thank you, Pioneer.
Pioneer.
To the chat and Gunners Boss, Pine Action. Welcome forward, Gunners Boss. G-Star, let me get. All right, go ahead. I don't want me here to dominate this thing in a debate farm. Go on. Share the stage with other gentlemen.
What's your question, Kim? Restate your question, Kim.
So I was saying that if you are the GM, you are the GM, G-Star. I'm pleased nobody the bias thing. That Preacher come and tell my boys that 3-on-3 basketball. If there's no LeBron and no AD, there's no blasted Lakers. Right? There's no blasted Lakers. So I don't know where you're talking about. But anyway, G-Star, let me ask you the question. If you are the GM of the Lakers and you are going to be told, hey, LeBron won't be healthy for majority of the season, Anthony Davis won't be healthy for majority of the season, but so you have a choice between Buddy Hield or Russell Westbrook.
But by the way, Kim, stick up in. Going into the season, who knew that Lebron and Anthony Davis weren't going to be healthy for the season?
Well, come on, Pioneer. Let us look at pattern.
That's the same thing we're saying with Westbrook. He wasn't going to fit. Come on, Ken. We knew Westbrook wasn't going to fit. Why are you telling me about the history of Anthony Davis and LeBron James? But then when we point to the history of Westbrook, you say no, get that out the window and put it one side. I cannot
Get to
reason like that.
the question, Ken. The question.
So I'm just saying, who would you pick in order to those minutes, that production? Who would you pick? Russell
All right. If
Westbrook
you're the
or
GM, what
Buddy
would you
Hield?
have done in that situation?
Me?
Basically.
I'm doing the
All
same
right.
thing. I'm getting. Yeah. What would you do
No,
as a GM? Yeah.
no. Here's my theory. Before I answer your question, here's my theory to that. In the NBA, it's like a arms race, right? So for me, I think that LeBron saw the nuclear weapons in Brooklyn and saw the potential of KCP and Caruso and thinking that they couldn't get to Brooklyn's level
Absolutely. I agree
talent-wise.
with that. I agree with that.
So I think LeBron just kind of swing for the fences for Russell Westbrook, right?
I think you're right, G-Star. I think this was a counter move to what
I agree.
But
Brooklyn had.
for me, with a bad move, when you looked at their team last year, what they lacked was shooting. So instead of breaking up the roster, last year the Lakers was the number one defense, the number one defensive efficiency.
Not last year.
Last year, yes.
Last season. That they were in the play-in.
Last season. Early in the season, Carolina, they made the play-in. Why they ended up in the play-in was because of the injury to Lebron. But last season, at the beginning of the season, the Lakers.
I think they were third or second.
And even
injured.
And
then when he got injured, he fell down.
Even throughout the season, they were still in the top 5. No, they gave away all of that for Westbrook, a man who does not play defense. You were in need of shooting, and you went for Westbrook, who is not a shooter, Kems. Come on, Kems.
But they had KCP, and he was putting up bricks.
All right.
This is a topic that is done and dusted. I don't understand why this topic keep coming up.
We don't want to get
the thing is proven out to be bad, and I would still feel like we're defending it. How can you see something go wrong and say you would still do it?
No,
that's not making sense. If something went wrong, you must look into yourself now and say it didn't make sense.
But how does it go wrong if you play 15 games together? That don't make no sense, Chris Lynch.
You know,
82 game season and you play 15 games.
Pioneer. Yeah. Kems, you're being disingenuous, you know.
How am I?
Because you're the same person who said that the whole Nets experiment went wrong when it's only 16 games. And
thank you, preacher.
Oh, that's true.
But gentlemen,
I
thought about that, Kems, but I just didn't say.
I don't want to play me.
Gentlemen, hold on, Kems. The question. I think we have deviated. We have deviated a bit here. We're looking at last night. We're looking at last night's game.
Well,
but because Kems is so passionate about this whole Westbrook situation, we have gone down this rabbit hole. Kems,
Pioneer, give me one last time.
All right,
because
go ahead.
I don't want anybody to watch the
podcast.
podcast. I don't want nobody to watch the podcast and say, boy, that you name Kems. Listen, the reason why I said the Brooklyn was a failure, because they are now broken up. They are no longer together. Russell Westbrook is still a Laker, so there's still a chance for it to work. Brooklyn cannot work at all because they are broken up. They are in different places right now, so it cannot possibly work. But Russell Westbrook
the same applies for the Lakers.
So at the end of the season, if the Lakers doesn't advance very far in the playoffs,
well, we don't have AD now. We don't have AD now.
No, but AD, there is people.
That's why you got Westbrook, because you know that AD was going to injured.
Gentlemen, let us not go. I think we're sliding too far down the rabbit hole. G-Star, tell me what you thought of the Clippers Lakers game last night. And then Chris Lynch will ask you for your opinion. And then we'll go to Preacher. Kems, we have to set up a whole different program. All right, Kems, I promise you this much. When this experiment fails, at the end of the season, we're going to set up
need a one program for it.
One program dedicated to this. All right, G-Star, tell me what you thought of. Oh, you said you didn't see the. Tell me what you thought of the game last night.
No, man, I saw the game. I saw the end of the game.
Cool.
Similar to Kim's, the coaching decision, the situational awareness by Frank Vogel. If you're a Laker fan, you have to be kind of worried because for real, if it's a sketchy play you do have to inbound the ball right away. You cannot call timeout and give the other team a chance to wonder if they should challenge or not, right? So regardless of how it turned out, it actually turned out good for them because Reggie Jackson had an 8-second call, and they did get the opportunity. So getting to the play now, I think Melo hit 5 threes, 6 threes, 4 threes. He had hit some threes in the game, right? Somebody had said that they didn't like the play, which you can kind of agree with LeBron being on the wing, and you knew what was happening before that. What was happening before that is whoever was guarding Russell Westbrook was going to the elbow, by the key, the top of the elbow, and they were sitting right in the key, daring LeBron to pass the ball to Russell Westbrook. I saw that over and over and over, right? So you kind of knew that was kind of going to be the defense. But let's forget about the play call. Who I'm really disappointed with in that sequence is Carmelo Anthony. When Carmelo took that shot, and Carmelo's my baller from Syracuse.
That is.
As
I
a
guess that is
veteran,
honesty on your part, G-Star. Go ahead.
yeah, as a vet,
Yeah.
you have to take the ball, take the Melo, 2 dribble, pull up. That's Melo's patented. Why are you taking a 28-footer? And Melo, he
Catch
does
and shoot.
not have that kind of range.
He had about 2 seconds left on the clock too.
He had about 4 seconds.
He had
Melo
time
could
to
have got all the way to the bucket. He could have taken 2 dribbles. He could have taken 3 dribbles. He could have done a reverse
THT and
pivot.
Russ was open under the basket.
No, he can't pass that ball. Melo's a scorer. Melo's a top 10. You expect Melo to get the ball to get you a bucket, right?
Stop that, G-Star. Don't tell me that the right play that you must make. It cannot happen because you're a scorer.
And he was
Chris
hot.
Lynch,
Well,
you know what the right play is? You know what the right play is, Chris Lynch? The right play is the best play. Why would I pass the ball to THT if you have Melo, one of the best scorers? No,
because
the
it's
ball
under
is
the
in the hands of
basket.
who you want it to be in. You see what I said? But the bottom line is, for me, I'll close on this. For me, I would have liked to see Melo be more aggressive in that sequence. And, we were talking about, when you look at the LeBron body language, I didn't see it still enough. But usually, LeBron would be like, Melo. Like, the J.R. Smith, when he did to J.R. Smith.
All right.
But he didn't.
All right. Christian, give me your quick
Point out to Devin, but just want to tell Devin that when the trade made, Pioneer went on a popular radio show and said that it was a good show, trade, sarcastically, because Pioneer was happy that the trade made, and I was in agreement with Pioneer that trade cannot be good no way, because Pioneer wasn't a LeBron fan. He was happy for the trade. He knew from the get-go that it wouldn't work out. So this is not after the fact. It's not after the fact. Most people know that trade wouldn't work out.
To the chat.
So yeah. Devin is a associate name. No, all out. So
okay.
We just want to know that that's not the case. This is not after the fact.
No, man, we're not.
Anyhow,
man.
After the fact. Yeah. But to the game last night, it's not a good team. They weren't a good team, and LeBron, like Kem said, got the game to close. After they were down, Austin Reeves make some good defensive play. Crowd get into the game. Lakers went on a run, take the lead, and LeBron starts shooting almost from the logo. Like, what are those shots for? He start doing some careless stuff. He looked like Westbrook at one point in the game. Just making careless shots, and you know the game was over from then, because all of a sudden now the Clippers get back into it, start doing what they were doing early and exploiting the Lakers' bad defense. But I think the Lakers still get the game to win after Frank Vogel, like Kems and G-Star pointed out, basically lose his mind and didn't do the right thing by just letting the ball go to an inbound. And Frank Vogel the Lakers still had time on the clock now to still win the game. And and they just did what G-Star said. LeBron got triple team. Obviously, they don't want him to shoot. He was right at a spot where, had they not closed out that play, he would have been the one to take the 3-pointer, because that's basically where he's getting his threes from. But they're a bad team. I can't see them beating no team in the first round. That game just proved to me. And to add insult to injury, the coach said he didn't prepare for the game. The Clippers coach, Tyronn Lue.
Preacher, give me a quick view. What are the Kems, man? Give me a quick view on what transpired last night, Preacher.
All right. To spare Kems the frustration, I actually agree with him. Vogel should lose his paycheck for not knowing the rule. At this level, championship level coach, you can't come to a press conference and say you didn't know that was the rule. You have to sort that out. But the Lakers did everything possible to lose a game that they started out. The first quarter was not bad. They were 2 points behind the Clippers after the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what happened in the second quarter that they had to peg back their way. Typical of Lebron teams, they played a very good third quarter. But the problem with the Lakers, and it showed up last night, down the stretch, if a game is close, I wouldn't bet on the Lakers winning the game, because you're not sure who exactly is going to be the person who's going to take those shots to win the game, or who's going to manage possessions to win the game. LeBron doesn't want to take the shot. LeBron doesn't want to go to the free throw line. LeBron is going to constantly try and make the quote-unquote right play and pass up the ball. You're the superstar. You're the superstar. Take the responsibility. Do what needs to be done. Win or lose, it's on you. To use the Alaric foolishness, with LeBron, it's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
With other people, it's not 50-50. It's less.
I see Kems jumping through the screen. Kems, I gotta give you a minute to say what you want to say, my brethren. You have a minute, Kev. So, fix what you think need fixing. Preacher said he agreed with it, by the way. But
he agreed with 1 point out of the minute.
Cool.
Listen. How can we really and truly judge a team now? Oh, Chris Lynch and Preacher say, oh, what I see last night show me Lakers not a good team. Lakers are not even fully healthy. How can you judge a team that is not fully healthy? I say,
because they have been doing it all season long.
They have played 15 games together, healthy, Preacher. What you tell me say?
No, we're judging what we saw. We're not judging what could be. We're judging what is.
So out of those 15 games, because I know you don't know those 15 games, so it's okay. But out of those 15 games, Preacher, you're going to tell me that you have not seen anything that you can say, well, boy, this Lakers team good. Absolutely nothing. They're just trash.
How many of those 15 games did they win?
We're not talking about win or losses, Preacher, man.
No. Answer the question.
Well, on the Preacher, when the reason basketball wins and losses, we look like how are they playing the basketball?
They've not been playing well. They've been playing poor basketball.
Beat up Warriors. I'm a joke with Pioneer. You think never think, oh well, hey, Knicks beat Warriors. Warriors not good. Warriors not nothing.
All right, Kems. Hold on. Just say you agree, man. Kems, listen now. I make a suggestion, you know. You have to have your doctor call when Lakers are playing a bridge. This Lakers team, you have the ambulance and your doctor and call, bridge. Because this Lakers team are going to run up your blood pressure and send you. By the way, we're going to big up Gunner's boss Pine Action for him contribution. See him just send a super chat. Big up yourself, Gunner's boss. He's kind of taking a job at Kems and Chris Lynch. We drop a super chat. So
what? Can you explain what is super chat? I don't know what that is.
Gunner's boss.
He want me here to pay for a comment and we're on the stream.
Good.
Okay.
All right. For me still, all right. We all saw what happened at the end of the game. Should Frank Vogel lose his job, you have a coaching staff, Bridget. Consult if you're not aware, if you're not knowledgeable.
That time, though, Pioneer, no consulting can happen. If you don't know it, you're going to lose out.
Well, true that. But then, may I say, quick consultation. May I agree with Preacher. You are at this level, you should know the rules. And when you get exposed like that, especially in a critical game like this, then, especially in a situation where your team is not playing well, your job was on the line earlier in the season, there were rumors of you being pushed out. So, in a situation like that, if the management of the Lakers goes for his head, then it is understood. They needed to win last night's game. They have a tough schedule ahead, and this was a game. This is Clippers is not the greatest team. This is a Clippers team that when you look at it on paper, man for man, the Lakers are better than this Clippers team. So they should have won. They should have won last night. All right. So, but to agree with what Preacher has said and Chris Lynch, and I have been saying all season, the Lakers, as they are constantly made up, is a bad team. All right. It's just a bad team. The pieces,
no two-way around it.
And they don't play defense, and that is what is resulting in the situation that they're in. Gentlemen,
their best defense outside of Anthony Davis is a rookie. Just let that sink in for a second.
Let me say one thing. Oh, let me say one thing about the Lakers.
Yeah.
I like the insertion of Dwight Howard. I was wondering what's taking them so long to put him in the lineup, because like he kind of brings that bully.
He can't defend on the perimeter.
He kind of brings that bully mentality to the team and grab rebounds. He was an excellent defensive player, so I think he can reap some benefits from Dwight Howard playing.
No G-Star. No, absolutely no G-Star. Dwight Howard fouls a lot. He can't defend the three. What Dwight Howard?
Gentlemen, we don't want to get bogged down too much on the league.
Dwight Howard is one of their better players. You play your best players. Simple as that.
We have too many better teams playing.
Hold on. We don't want to get
stagnant on the Lakers.
Yeah, man. Listen, there are some good teams in the NBA. I think we should start discussing.
Yeah. Some good basketball
teams. All right. Since the resumption of the league on Thursday, there have been some interesting games and some interesting things. So we won't even get into the game by game. All right, the Suns without Chris Paul played twice. They played second night back to back last night. They actually beat the Thunders in Oklahoma on Thursday. They played last night against the Pelicans in Phoenix and lost to the Pelicans. I won't make too much of that. Second night back to back, coming off the road, coming home. The Pelicans are not the greatest team, but they have good pieces. They have CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum had a big night last night. They have Brandon Ingram, of course. So I won't make too much of that. Without Chris Paul, the Suns are gonna not struggle, but I don't think they're missing their leader. And so they'll have for the time that Chris Paul is out for me, they're gonna have things a little bit tough. I would say them probably not falling off the lead completely, but they before the Chris Paul injury, they had a 6.5 game lead at the top of the West. They are now down to 6 games. I could see Golden State, making some dents in that lead at the top for the top spot. Also of note, James Harden played his first game for the 76ers. I see Kems have a look on his face. So we have got to that. James Harden played his first game for the 76ers. They beat they annihilated the Timberwolves. Harden looked good. Timberwolves was on second night back to back though, gentlemen. Let me say that. Let me put it in. But I'm going to allow all of you 4 gentlemen to give me your views on James Harden's outing for the Philadelphia 76ers.
It couldn't have been any better, man.
All right, let me start with your Preacher.
Yeah, it couldn't have started any better for James Harden. 2 rebounds, I think, shy of a triple-double.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid also having one of his good nights. So James could feed off that energy as well. Playing a Timberwolves team that was on their second night of a back-to-back. You wouldn't want anything better for your debut game. I mean, James Harden is going to be good. We know James Harden is a good basketball player. We know he's a top 10 basketball player right now. So didn't expect anything less from him. Thing about James Harden though is that what's going to happen when you get into the playoffs, it really counts. So I'm watching to see if James Harden becomes the James Harden of the Rockets era, the James Harden of the OKC NBA Finals versus the Miami Heat, or if we're going to see a more mature James Harden playing with a big man with the likes of Joel Embiid's skills for the first time. But a good start. Kudos to James Harden.
Kems, I see. I know you want. You are a man who has had a lot to say about the trade. How do you see Harden's debut for the Sixers? What do
Just a
you feel?
little. All right, just a little quick note for those persons who run up and jump up about Brooklyn win the trade. There's been a report that Ben Simmons is experiencing some back pains, so he'll be out some additional weeks. That's all I have to say. So good luck to Brooklyn. Anyway, on this, obviously, there's not really much for me to say because I've expected this. Everybody would jump up and run up and down and talk about James Harden. The man is a baller. The man know how to play basketball. The man know how to play with big man. What Joel Embiid said, oh man, I've never been this open. I've never had so much easy baskets in my entire life. I have always had to work, especially in the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid said he was having the time of his life. Listen, 27 points, 12 assists.
It's one game.
Well, you can see, if it's one game or 30 games, I love what I have seen. We're talking about that one game, preacher. Now that alone we're talking about. Yeah.
You say Joel Embiid said he has never been this open in his entire life after playing one game.
That's what he said. What you want me to do?
He's embellishing.
Could that have a lot to do with the fact that the legs of the Minnesota Timberwolves players were a little bit weary, Kems? Let's ask a question.
I'm answering you. They just come from a lengthy All-Star break. 2 weeks off. They'll be fine. But listen, let me continue talking about my guy James Harden. Listen.
Yeah, man, you have 30 seconds more. You're good. Yes. Yeah, well, and keep it flowing.
No problem. 27 points, 12 assists, 8 rebounds. I think he was 7 of 12 from the field. That's an absolute stud. And then when you look, people say, oh, James Harden going to come play isoball. There was ball movement. Joel Embiid got his buckets. He had 33. And I'm telling
34.
you, right?
I had 34, actually.
34 you had? Okay,
34 and 10. 34 10 with 3 assists.
Oh, God. Brilliant stuff. So right now I'm looking at Philly, and I'm already saying, Philly win the trade, and Philly is the team to beat in the East.
All right. G-Star, I know James Harden a year baller. How you saw the debut for the Sixers going last night?
No, it went well. James Harden is not my baller, no. He was just playing for the Brooklyn Nets. No, to what Preacher was saying a little bit, I think that James Harden, his knock on his playoff performance, I think it's exaggerated. He may go down a little bit, but he's also had to carry a heavy load. So I don't think it's that bad, James Harden in the playoffs. As to the fit and everything, in terms of James Harden, we knew that, as Kem said, James Harden's a baller. When he's right, at top 5, what I noticed about that game is that Tobias Harris only had 6 points and they won by about 25 points, right? Tyrese Maxey had, I think, 27, 28. Everybody shooting a high percentage. It's the first night. Everybody's feeling good. But Jill Scott had a hit song. I heard it all before, right? With James Harden, we saw this in Brooklyn. We saw the energy. No, I'm talking as a fan now a little bit, where it's gonna be nice seeing what the Brooklyn Nets do, but it was definitely their night in Philly. What they're doing, you have to love it because they went from Ben Simmons not playing none at all to James Harden. So, yeah, that's it.
All right, Chris Lynch, give me a quick view on Harden's outing for the 76ers.
Unlike a certain player going to the Lakers, there was no question if this player was going to fit with the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think when someone saying Brooklyn winning the trade doesn't mean James Harden won't fit. I don't know where Ken's mistaken. Don't fit and mean winning a trade don't mean.
People came on this particular show. People came on this show and said that they don't know how James Harden going to fit with Joel Embiid.
No, hold on. I because when I hold up my hands when I said things, I question whether the fit, whether it would work. But one game is too small of a sample size. One game against a tired team who's coming off a second night back to back is not something for. Listen, if I say, I'm sure that Russell Westbrook have had good games for the LA Lakers, where everything looked like it worked. All right, but we don't use 1 or 2 games. For me, the litmus test of this trade will be in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
When you're playing one team in a 7-game series and a team can zone in on you, then we will see how this fit works. Not in some.
I hope Brooklyn make it.
Okay.
And will James
Well, get back to the
Harden
game. Get back to the game.
Oh, Kems, don't get ridiculous.
I'm holding up my hand. I question whether it would work or whether
Get back to the game.
I didn't say
Based on what?
I just question whether, if I said I wasn't too confident that it would work. Now let's see. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm the first to admit that. Back to the game.
Still went off experience with James Harden. When he went to the Brooklyn Nets, a lot of people questioned if he could let it work there because of him and Kyrie. And he did change his game, and basically that's all he would need to do again playing in Philly. And he did it last night. He's not ball hugging. He's trying to get everyone involved. When he was at the Nets, he had games where he didn't score in the first quarter because he really wasn't trying to score. So I knew that obviously he would have fit with Joel, and he would probably be a better fit than Ben Simmons to Joel because he can score the basketball. Now, are there threats in the East? Of course they are, because you have two superstars. But you must get past, like I said, in a 7-game series, like I said, you're not going to play the Timberwolves. You're going to play Giannis. You have to get, because anyone who wants to win the East has to go through Giannis, Drew Holiday, and Middleton, who is going to play good defense. And that's a good indicator to tell you if James Harden really is a player that most people would say turn the table.
All right, Kems. All right, Kems. I see you pulling out your ear in Kems.
Because when I just watch Philly just whop up Milwaukee without James Harden, like totally annihilate Giannis and all of them.
Ken, watch the regular season and your ear lofting about the regular season.
Well, when I say Lakers,
you have never got to know that the regular season is different from the playoffs now.
All right. Boy.
That is why it's called a regular season. Of note to gentlemen, Boston has won their first 2 games coming out of the playoff of the All-Star weekend. We kind of question Boston whether the last time we had a podcast, we questioned whether Boston could do anything in the East. They have worked their way into the 6th spot. They beat the Nets, short-handed Nets, mind you. And last night, on the second night of a back-to-back, they had another win over a weak Piston teams, mind you, in Detroit.
The Boston never tired Pioneer. Second night of a back-to-back.
Second night back-to-back, but you're playing a weaker opponent, Ken. So, there's something to be said about that. All right. Also, of note, and some time ago, gentlemen, we discussed the Chicago Bulls. All right, and I'm gonna. All right, before we get there, let me since we're on this LeBron James discussion over the All-Star weekend, LeBron James said a lot. We heard him talking about wanting to play with his son, but something that I found particularly interesting, and I had hinted at it on at the end of our last podcast. This was before all of the hullabaloo of him speaking at the All-Star weekend. I had hinted at it and asked you, gentlemen, could you see LeBron James going back to Cleveland, seeing what is happening in Cleveland, seeing that things are a little shaky in Los Angeles? I'll start with you, Preacher. Could you see that move happening and how you see it working, or you see the dynamics of that working out?
No, I don't think he's going to go back to Cleveland. If he has intentions of playing with his son is obviously going to be a high pick in the NBA draft. You would have to be looking at one of those teams that would fall down in the lottery, probably 1 and 5. Cleveland is not going to be 1 and 5 in the lottery. Probably want to be looking at a team like OKC, and there are already rumors swirling around OKC and the potential for LeBron to get into some kind of conversations around moving some pieces to get himself and Bronny playing in OKC together. But Cleveland is out of the question. There's a lot of bad blood still left there from LeBron leaving. Over the All-Star weekend, in fact, it was noted that LeBron, who is the hometown hero, was second fiddle to Michael Jordan in the announcements of the 75 greatest players. One would think that LeBron James would be getting some rousing welcome home, which was Jordan. I mean, they don't see Jordan every day, obviously. LeBron's still playing in the league. But that was something, that was a discussion point for some people. Anyway, he's not going back to Cleveland.
Kems, me move right here, Kems. And Kems, please don't adjust the Jordan point.
I won't. I really want to, but I won't.
That's just the question that I'm asking, Kems. Could you see LeBron James going back to Cleveland, and tell me how you see that dynamic working if you think he could go back to Cleveland?
Absolutely not. Definitely. If LeBron should go back to Cleveland, he probably have to go on the quote-unquote vet minimum. I don't think Cleveland would ever trade for LeBron. Come on, he's in his 19th season. I'm going to be in his 20th. They have some great young players over there. You know, they're building something over there. Shout out to the GM, Kobe. He's doing an excellent job. So I don't think LeBron going back. I think, obviously, anything LeBron says always been taken out of context. You know, he want to play with his son, and the last season I going to play with his son. I'm sure, you know, any team will grab at that opportunity to get a 2-for-1 deal. LeBron and his son, I get a lot of tickets, but I don't see LeBron going back to Cleveland at all, other than to sign a one-day contract and retire as a Cleveland Cavalier. But in order to play basketball in Cleveland, again, I think he did his job. Remember, you know, really quickly, LeBron going to LA, triple in net worth. Absolutely triple. Everything is great for LeBron in LA right now. So going back to Cleveland,
except basketball. Except basketball. Everything is great except it's basketball.
Pioneer. You see how the money love draw me out.
No, you want, all right, yeah, Kems. You want a title. You want a bubble ring, Kems.
Yeah.
All right. So,
but I'm saying for Cleveland, he already did his job there. He already said he's going to win them a championship. So I think he'll only go back there to retire.
All right. G-Star and let's go G-Star. And we welcome Gunner's boss, Pine Action, who has joined the stream. Welcome forward, Gunner's boss. We'll get to you with some of these things. We know you're itching to say a few things because we know you have we know your views about LeBron James. So we'll get to you in due time, Gunner's boss.
Pioneer.
Yeah, Kems.
Whenever you're done with everybody, may I ask you for 15 seconds to respond to this rubbish comment by Devin Cohen? All right, just give me 15 after you finish with everybody.
All right, go ahead, G-Star.
Yeah,
I hinted at it at the end of our last broadcast. Could you see LeBron James back in Cleveland? And tell me how you think that would work.
I don't think so, because I think he kind of accomplished what he wanted to in Cleveland. I think it'd be kind of a backward move, right? Because you don't know he has his business empire kind of in LA, right? And then the Lakers is really weird. That's where the stars go to retire. Like you go to LA, yeah?
Yeah.
And then but though, could he move from LA? Yes, I actually do think that if he has the opportunity, he would be a free agent, because people think that, he's going to be traded. LeBron is Mr. Player Empowerment. He knows how to set it up where he'll be a free agent when his son is coming into the NBA, because he cannot fix where his son goes, because his son has to get drafted. So once his son gets drafted by a team, they were kind of doing the same thing with who cares about him? The guy from UConn, and he went to Miami. I don't remember. And then Pat Riley drafted him, and LeBron didn't end up signing.
Shabazz Napier.
Yeah, Shabazz Napier. Yeah, as they thought, Shabazz is going to keep LeBron in Miami. Anyway, so LeBron is that smart. LeBron is going to set up the chess move to be able to play ball with his son, right? If his son is actually good enough to be a first-round pick or a second-round pick, or even be an undrafted player that makes it to the NBA, right? In professional sports, it's only in America, there was Ken Griffey Jr. and then I can't remember the name of Ken Griffey Sr. I think it was Ken Griffey Sr. in baseball. So for a father-son combination to happen in the NBA is something actually out of this world. We've seen brothers play before, right?
Yeah, man, that's how brothers play.
But yeah, so I think that is a possibility. The possibility is him moving to baseball with it.
Kems, may I give you 15 seconds, Kems. Saying, but let me say this. All right. For me, this is just my bit on the subject. So I'll make it short. We saw Lebron hinting at, I think you just said G-Star, he's setting it up.
Give people a mic now, man.
Hold on. No. You just said he's setting it up, G-Star. We saw him bigging up Presti from the Oklahoma City Thunders. It is said that in the 2024 draft, which is a draft that his son, people are expecting his son to come out in. OKC has 4 first-round picks. That could be it. I think that is where Lebron could be setting him. I think he was bigging up Presti with a view that he would get him to draft his son and probably promising that he would play his last year in OKC, and that would bring some amount of spotlight and highlight to the OKC Thunders.
Wow, absolutely.
Chris Lynch, give me your views on LeBron going back to Cleveland.
I think we're reading too much into what LeBron said. Presti did a great job with getting draft picks, and it's the truth. Like you couldn't twist it no other way and say what LeBron said was just a sweet talk, and it didn't go like that.
Why do you need to mention Presti? Why not mention Bob Myers, who drafted Stephen Clay?
Everything LeBron do is calculated.
Because you know why? Pioneer, hold on, time out. Yeah. Because they asked him about Josh Giddey. That's why. The question was about Josh Giddey. And because Josh Giddey is actually balling for OKC right now, before the All-Star break, as good as Kuminga looked.
You mentioned,
I can't say that OKC should have drafted Kuminga over Josh Giddey. And you know I love Kuminga as a baller, so that is how it came up. And then he's like,
no calculation really into
he
that.
drafts all the best players, and he's right. Sam Presti is an excellent drafter of players.
He actually called him the MVP.
Yes, so basically, like what G-Star said, coming up off of that question, LeBron couldn't have known that reporter was going to ask about a OKC player. Like, that's nothing calculated there. I mean, it's a good story, Pioneer. If you write it, it would sell. But and then he went on to mention Kevin Durant, Ross, and James Harden that he have draft. That's anybody draft those players must be good at drafting. That's what he was saying. So yeah, but I don't see moving. I like G-Star, everything that G-Star said basically. It's all about his son. Anywhere his son ends up, he will end up there. And I think his body, he's in good shape still. He's still keeping himself in good shape and still want to win wherever his son goes, basically.
All right. Gunners Boss, welcome to the stream again, my brethren. I'm going to allow you to comment on that question. Do you see LeBron James going back to Cleveland? And if it happens, how you see those dynamics working?
Like a man said before, I not listen not what LeBron saying. LeBron has sell himself, a business the man are doing, so him a go. You look on yourself, preacher. The what me not call egotistical. I want to find a name to call Kim, the sympathetic LeBron fan. Big up yourself. Me general, big up yourself.
Up.
G-Star, your brother, me you have to agree with Zidane, say Kobe, say Giannis.
No, man, hold on.
That man, let me do my thing now, Chris. A 5 minutes.
No, we don't want to stray from the...
Before you give me a break, you know.
Yeah, but we don't want to stray from the topic of discussion. Fine.
Yeah, man, then we now come back to the topic, but me not feel up the man then. Big up yourself, Pioneer. Big up yourself, Chris Lynch. Me not feel yelling up before me start the show. Big up yourself, teacher. Me see in the comment, I'm a real G too. No. LeBron James I go do what he want to do. I now bash the man. Anyway, the man want to go, him say he want to go play with his son. Anyway, his son go, and at that time I go end up if his son worth if he get the draft and him get the draft and him can find himself there. It's all business for him, his son and the city again. Do your thing, brother. That me I go say. Right, that's how with LeBron. Because I don't want the LeBron fan, them nothing I chat. I don't want them beat me, so I behave myself tonight.
All right, as gentlemen, and for the listeners and the viewers, as you know, LeBron James is, as it stands right now, the face of the NBA. So whatever it does, and anything that concerns LeBron James will be news. It will be big news, and it will be a major talking point, in the media. And so anything that he says, the media will pick it up. Gentlemen, we are an hour and 5 minutes in. I want to look at this in closing. Some time ago, we looked at the Chicago Bulls, and this was before the trade deadline. We had looked at them and what we thought they were capable of. All right, we have a bigger panel now, and based on recent events, we see DeMar DeRozan balling, breaking records that are were set by Michael Jordan, keeping elite company with some of the accolades and some of the feats that he's achieving. So I want to take a look back at this at Chicago Bulls. All right, I want to ask again, how good do we think this Chicago Bulls team is, and what do we realistically see them doing in the Eastern Conference? I'll start with you, Kems. Give me your views.
All right. So for me, again, let us, what DeMar DeRozan is doing right now, obviously, is legendary. But even though he's doing that, even I see against the Atlanta Hawks, the Chicago Bulls struggle over the line to beat them. Again, I think Chicago is probably a piece away, and I think they're, some other playoff experience away, from making it. They can win a playoff series, and again, I'll say it all comes down to the matchup because the East is so tight right now. If Chicago end up drop all the way down, and for example, first round they are playing a Milwaukee Bucks, I'm not going to expect. So it all depends on the matchup, but I think Chicago can win a playoff series and feel good about themselves. I think if you ask them before the season, hey, I'm giving you a playoff series win, would you take that? They'll say absolutely yes. But I think right now the East, the Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, Philadelphia 76ers, those three teams for sure, I know is better than the Chicago Bulls. And I think Boston versus Chicago, I think Boston pose a lot of challenges for Chicago right now that Chicago can't withstand. So I think those four teams, I'm not talking about any team that is in the play-in right now. You have to make your way in the playoffs and then we can talk about you. But those teams in the playoffs right now, I think Chicago is really and truly have to hope for a Cleveland Cavaliers. If they play the Cavaliers, they can win that first round matchup. But apart from that, I don't see any other team that they can beat.
All right, Preacher, I go directly to you, Preacher. Tell me your views on Chicago. What do you see them doing for the rest of the regular season, and what do you see them potentially doing in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, let's start with the rest of the regular season. They actually have one of the toughest schedules for the remaining part of the season. I think of their last 20-odd games, 13 are on the road, and they're going to be playing playoff teams. I think 12 of their games are going to be against playoff teams. That means teams in the top 6 in their conference. So it's going to be a tough run down the stretch. Good thing for them is that they should be getting back some players from injury. I think Lonzo Ball should be coming back and Caruso should be coming back. So they will get some reinforcements there. Now, when you look at this team going into the playoffs, as Kem said, and I agree with him 100%, it's going to be about the matchup that they get in the first round. I really don't see them beating anybody except for Cleveland as well. I don't think they have the depth. They're not a very strong team defensively. They're giving up over 100 and odd points per game, even though they also score over 100 and odd points per game. When you look at, and Kems took a shot at Brooklyn Nets by talking about teams that are in the play-in. But when you look at the potential for a first round matchup to get them against the Nets, I mean, it would be a perfect situation for the Nets, who would be playing against a team that doesn't pose any real threat inside the paint. And the Nets could be able to navigate that. I mean, they have the big guy. What's his name? Not the name don't come to mind readily.
Oh, next one. Andre Drummond.
No man, the Bulls.
Oh, Vucevic.
Vucevic, right?
Yeah, Vucevic.
But
they also picked up Tristan Thompson.
And Tristan Thompson
in the bio
passes best. But you'd rather play against Vucevic and Tristan Thompson in the first round than have to deal with Giannis or the 76ers or any of those teams. So I don't see Chicago going beyond the first round. I agree with Kems on this one. Kems, we agree.
Fine action. Fine action. Give me your views on Chicago, my brother. By the way, Chris Lynch is out of the stream temporarily, gentlemen. He'll be back. So, Gunners boss, Fine action. Tell me what your views on this Chicago team and how do you see them faring for the rest of the regular season, my brother? And could they beat your Miami Heat team in the playoffs?
No team will be beating Miami in the playoff or the NBA finals. So, I don't have nothing to say about Chicago. Talk to me about Miami. Miami beat me thing there. And the response to no other team but Miami right now. So I just in the chat for listener agree and disagree with everybody. I said what everybody else, but Miami me thing there and them me care about.
G-Star.
about Chicago, brother.
G-Star, give me your views on Chicago. It's especially with recent acquisition, especially with and I heard Preacher just speak to them being lacking in defense. Caruso and Lonzo Ball are two of the better defensive players in the team. I think them getting those back will help them on defense. So give me your views, G-Star, as to how you see this Chicago team. Could you see them knocking off any of the big four that as we have designated?
Well, as I said, I have a big three, right? I don't Miami is not in no big four of mine. To the Chicago Bulls though, they are a nice team. They are a nice team, but just like from before, I believe that they're a pretender, not a real contender. The pieces coming back will be nice. Alonzo, Caruso, and apparently Patrick Williams is supposed to come back. He was supposed to be their best defender at the start of the season. So he should help. But I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it in the playoffs, it just comes down to high-end talent. And I know DeRozan's getting a ton of MVP buzz and a lot of MVP love, right? But he's just, for me, he's just not up there with a James Harden. He's not up there with a Kevin Durant. He's not up there with a Kyrie Irving. And when it comes down to the playoffs, it's just, are my players better than yours? Simple as that. So I just don't think that the high-end talent.
But you'll have to, you're still, the G-Star agree though that the level he's playing at this season, and I'm just talking about this season, puts him up there with everybody.
In terms of what? Talent?
Kyrie has never been at this level.
He's having a good season, Pioneer.
No,
he's
I'm
having
just
a
saying.
good season.
You're as good as what you are showing, G-Star. No, I'm just saying this season. I'm not talking about the past. And we still we know he has somewhat of a checkered past in the playoff. All right, how I look at it, he ran up into LeBron James in his last 2 seasons in Toronto. He couldn't get over that hurdle. All right, but he's now in the East. You might look at some different prospects. He has, for me, he has, and this is where I said, gentlemen, I am not sleeping on Chicago. I as I say, I have designated the big four: the Nets, the Sixers, the Heats, and the Bucks. But I want to slip Chicago somewhere in there as a B to be a big to turn that into a big five. I'm not sleeping on Chicago. When I look at the pieces that they have to come, when I look at how DeRozan and Levine is playing, they could surprise somebody in the playoff. I agree with Preacher. If they run up into the Nets, it's a bad matchup for them. But anybody else?
And Milwaukee, they run up into Milwaukee as well. A bad matchup.
Somewhat, yeah, honest. They don't have anybody to cover. Yeah, so that's gonna be a little. But Sixers.
I'll say this real quick, Pioneer. I'll say this real quick. I don't know. Listen, and I know everybody have their little subjective views, and I know G-Star can be very biased. So can I. So can everybody who watch basketball and have them favorite. But for you to say you're taking this season, as Pioneer pointed out, I don't know what I'm getting from Ben Simmons. Right now, I'm taking DeRozan over Ben Simmons. Right now, currently, I'm taking DeRozan over Ben Simmons every day and twice on Sunday. I'm taking DeRozan over Kyrie Irving right now, every day and twice on Sunday. Kyrie Irving has never in his entire career played at this level that DeMar DeRozan is playing right now. Kyrie will give you all the fandangles and behind the back and all that stuff. But in terms of efficiency, in terms of putting the ball in the basket, in terms of putting a team on your back when your team is injury-riddled, Kyrie Irving has never done that. Right now, if KD did have DeRozan at this level instead of Kyrie, I would be worried. But
hold on. Kems, Kyrie was 50, 40, 90 last season. What are you talking about?
Okay.
You know, he had about 25 a game last season, right?
That is not on DeMar DeRozan's level. What DeMar DeRozan is doing right now is
DeMar DeRozan, he's having a better season than he might be having a better season.
Consistent games with 35. He consistent games with 35 points or more. The company is keeping is Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. I think it's George Gervin.
Who's a better scorer, James?
But you know
Who's
what?
a better scorer, Kyrie Irving or DeMar DeRozan? Who's a better scorer?
G-Star. G-Star.
No, just answer that question.
Gentlemen, let's not get
No,
bogged
just
down.
answer that one question.
Let's not
Answer
get
that one
bogged down.
question.
Let's not get bogged down with the
DeMar
comparison.
DeRozan.
All right, let's not get bogged down, gentlemen, with the comparison. So,
DeMar DeRozan has never been better than Kyrie Irving as a basketball player. Yeah, you can't
Bro,
say
yo,
he is
this
better
is
than.
not. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing this.
No. Fine action. Nobody is saying that he's better as a basketball player. We're comparing the levels that both players are. Well, not because I wasn't looking at Kyrie versus DeMar DeRozan. I'm comparing DeMar DeRozan's play this season to everybody else in the league, and
he is
as
the most. I think,
says, and as everybody can accede to that, he's
the most
top three.
He might be the second
in MVP in the MVP conversation right now.
He might be the most or second most improved player this year. I agree, but we're not going to put him on Kyrie Irving in no conversation.
Yeah, like, are we gonna say he's better than Damian Lillard as well? Like, that's what we're doing now.
No, man.
We're saying the most improved. He's the most improved player.
What Kems was saying, gentlemen, is that the level that he sees DeMar DeRozan playing at this year, he has never seen Kyrie Irving playing at that level.
It's not Kyrie doing in the playoffs, Pioneer. It's doing in the playoffs.
It's the regular season. But this regular season, we're looking at G.
I was saw him do it in the playoffs against Warriors, so I don't know what Kem's talking about.
This is an 82 game regular season. All right, gentlemen. So let's not get bogged down with that. We have give our views of the Bulls, and for me, personally, that's it. Don't sleep on the Chicago Bulls. All right. Christine, you weren't a part of the discussion. You had hopped out a little bit. To a point where that preacher was talking about the Bulls schedule. They have what I'd consider a very, very tough schedule. They have the Grizzlies tonight. They have the Heat on the 28th. They have the Hawks on the 3rd of March. They have the Bucks on the 4th of March. They have the Sixers on the 7th of March. They have the Pistons on the 9th. Then they have the Cavaliers, the Kings, the Jazz, the Suns, the Raptors, the Bucks again. It's a very, very tough run-in for the Chicago Bulls. They are sitting atop the East right now, tied with Miami. But as we know, and we had discussed previously, things in the East can change. There's just a few games separating first from eighth. All right. The other team I want to look at, gentlemen, and we'll use this to close out. This is the Denver Nuggets in the West. Without a couple of their marquee players, but we have the Joker holding it down, and along with the rest of his cast, people like Will Barton and Aaron Gordon, they have worked themselves so comfortable. What are they sitting? 6th or 7th? They are sitting at 6th presently in the West. So I want you gentlemen to tell me how good do you think the Denver Nuggets are at this time. I have not heard a timeline on Jamal Murray's return or what's the other young boy that G-Star?
Michael Porter Jr.
I think he's done for the season.
He's done for the season. So what can we expect from the Joker and the Denver Nuggets in the West for the rest of the regular season and going into the playoffs? We'll start with you, Christine, since you weren't a part of the previous discussion.
Yeah, I think they're a good team, but obviously they're going to miss that Jamal Murray. That's what they would miss. If they had Jamal and playing at his level that we know he can play at, especially seeing what he has done in the playoffs, it would have been a more interesting West than it already is if Jamal Murray was fit. But I still don't expect Nikola Jokic to go out like a loser, so I still expect him to put up some fight. But I can't see them coming out of the West.
Could you see them winning a playoff series? Could you possibly see them making it to the conference semi-final or final?
I don't have them as one of the teams that could create an upset right now, but I think they bow out at the first round.
All right. Your views, Preacher. Denver Nuggets.
Well, their schedule is easier than the schedule that we just looked at in terms of the Bulls. Mm-hmm. So in terms of seeding, I think they should be able to consolidate their position or go 1 or 2 steps above, probably finish 4th or 5th max in the West. Now, finishing 4th or 5th would mean that they would be playing against the 4th place team or the 5th place team.
Might be a Utah.
Exactly. Chances are Utah Jazz. Now, if they play Utah Jazz, I could see them winning that series. Primarily because Utah, the Utah team, they have some deficiencies. They are not necessarily a great playoff team. They've proven the last 2 playoffs that they can be there, but if you stick with them, you can beat them. And I think the Nuggets, having beaten them in the bubble, would have that confidence going in. Now, missing Michael Porter Jr. and Murray obviously would be big. Barton has not been playing as good as I thought he would be playing down the stretch. And this Jokic, who some people have as the greatest offensive center in the history of basketball, he's yet to prove to me that he's high caliber. He's good. He's European, and the European bigs are usually good. They're usually good on handlers of the ball, passing the ball, scoring the ball. But when it comes down to being dominant, nah, he's not a dominant force that anybody fears. So I give them at best the semifinals. Other than that, they're dropping out in the first round.
J-Star, give me your views on the Denver Nuggets, what you could see them possibly doing for the rest of the regular season and the playoffs.
On Nikola Jokic, right? I do think he's dominant. Yeah, I don't think he's feared, right? But I definitely do believe that he's dominant. And for me, in the playoffs last year, especially looking back on it, it wasn't had anything to do with his offense. He couldn't stop Chris Paul in the pick and roll. Chris Paul was abusing it. For me, that's why he cannot be up there yet, because if you can't stop pick and roll as a big man, then you're SOL, right? And as for this season, no Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter Jr. That kind of puts a cap on their ceiling, like they can only get so high. What I'd love to see though, moving forward as a fan, is to watch Jamal Murray go against Ja Morant, because they kind of have the same herky-jerky play style, but Jamal Murray is more of a shooter, and Ja Morant is more of a driver, right? So I've been looking forward to that in the future, to seeing that matchup.
We just want to stick to what is happening in the season.
Yeah, I know. As for the Denver Nuggets, I don't think they're going to go too far, because they just don't have enough
firepower. All right, I want to welcome a couple of persons to the chat. Welcome Pagan 180. I want to welcome Kirk YYZ. Also, I want to say welcome forward to Cashered. Cashered has joined us. I think Cashered is in Canada. I think. Big up yourself, Cashered. Good to have you in the stream. Personally, and to correct us on something to a preacher. I think Barton has been playing fairly well. I think in his last game, he had 31 points. I think that was in a game yesterday, was it? No, on the 24th of February. He dropped 31. He has been thereabout. I remember him giving the business to the Golden State Warriors in a game that they had a close win over Golden State. I was quite disappointed. I was saying they were making Will Barton look like Kobe Bryant and things. So he has had a decent season. They have a youngster on their team that I like. What's his name? Bones Highland. Playing some good basketball. But like you, gentlemen, I agree. They are short-handed. I don't think the Joker alone can bring them to the promised land. Whilst I agree with you, preacher, that they could knock off Utah, I think Donovan Mitchell has something to prove this playoff season. He has been to the playoffs ever since his rookie season and has not gotten it done. I think this is the season that Donovan Mitchell takes it upon himself and try. I can't see Utah beating Golden State or Phoenix, but I think Donovan Mitchell will get a better version of Donovan Mitchell in this playoff than we got last year. So if we come up with, I think if we see a matchup between the Nuggets and the Utah Jazz, I would favor, whilst I give the Nuggets an opportunity to knock them off, I would favor the Utah Jazz. All right. gentlemen, I see, who was it that was one of these gentlemen saying that we one done MUFC 45 saying that we're sleeping on the Celtics, that we're overlooking the Celtics. We had discussed the Celtics on our last podcast, and we made mention of them earlier.
Yeah. No.
I
I
don't
disagree with you guys, Pioneer. Because I watched the show and yeah, I didn't think you guys last week gave the Celtics much of a chance. I think they're playing a lot better. I like the energy from the Celtics, and I honestly believe I don't think they'll make it to the finals, but I believe they can do a lot of damage, and possibly because they have like finals. Jason Tatum's never been to the finals. Jalen Brown's never been to the finals, so they actually have that hunger of getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and wanting to get to the
They have been to
finals.
conference final though.
Yeah, man. They played against LeBron in the
LeBron, yeah.
conference.
They were actually
That's what I said. They've been to
3-2 up.
two.
You
They were
forget
actually
they
3-2 up.
You forget they lost
So they have
Marcus.
that hunger. So they want to get to the finals, is what I'm saying. So,
All right.
so I believe they have a good opportunity.
All right, gentlemen. We have 3 minutes left in the team. But let me say this to you, G-Star. We mentioned a big four in the East, and I just added Chicago Bulls to say we're talking about a big five. So we're adding the Boston. Well, let me declare this. At the start of the start of the season, and when the season started unfolding, I declared the East as a blood sport when I saw how the East was shaping up. But are we now adding Chicago to the mix as a possible contender in the East?
No, not me.
Listen,
I would never put Boston.
Well on G-Star. I'm going to get Preacher's views on that.
Yeah, earlier G-Star said that Chicago is a pretender. If Chicago is a pretender, what is Boston? Because the way Chicago is playing right now, just based on just pure basketball, they're playing good basketball. Just that they're just missing one or two really important pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Boston has been together for a while. They made some additions and subtractions, so they're on a run now. But why would we take Boston more seriously? What is it about Boston that's gonna make them scary for any other teams in Pioneers top four? I don't get it.
Experience and star power.
Star power.
Marcus, they lost Marcus
Jason
Smart.
Tatum.
No, Marcus
Jason Tatum.
Smart is back. Here, Pioneer. He came back. He came back. He played the last 2 games. He played last night and he played on the
That's why I not say much, because I not watch much basketball last night. Maybe at the second time I watch 1 full game, 2 full game I watch last night. I watch Miami Heat and I watch the Lakers get them beat down. That's the 2 full game. I not go sit here and come say me I watch. I not watch a lot of basketball right now. I've been at.
All right, but I tend to agree. Boston.
No.
I agree with your Preacher. I give Chicago a more realistic chance of doing some damage than Boston in the East.
You get caught G-Star because you cannot not respect Bulls but respect Boston. We've been together for and then Chicago basically just fun.
Listen, G-Star.
I'll tell you what.
We said this in the last podcast, and I hold to this. And this is why we like sports, because we can make declarations and predictions and observations, but then the players can go out and prove us wrong. But my observation of the Boston Celtics, I don't think the chemistry between Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, it's my turn, your turn. There is the link-up play between both gentlemen. I think there's a wall that stands between them on the court. When you watch them, you don't get that cohesiveness. You don't get that. They're missing that, and I will say it. And if you said you watched the last podcast, this was the point I was making. There's a missing linchpin that will join these 2 players. Kems had mentioned somebody like a Chris Paul. I had mentioned somebody like a Draymond Green. But there's something that is missing. I don't see them. We could be proven wrong, but I don't see them doing damage to the big 4 as I has designated them, or to Chicago in the East.
Hey, you hear me?
The one thing I didn't get to point out when we were talking about it to Pioneer was the big thing about it is you cannot have 2 guys and none of them want to be the leader. That's how it is. One of them have to take it up on them and say, I am the leader of the team. I don't feel like any of them is the leader. It's like, oh, we are sharing it. You are the boss.
Come on,
tonight if I'm
Jason
going off.
Tatum
I
is the
lose the
leader.
ball tonight if I'm going off.
Jason Tatum is the leader. Chris Lynch.
Hey,
You don't feel it. That's
Yeah, I agree with Christian G. You don't
you
see it.
don't feel it.
You don't
You
see
don't
that.
feel it. You don't see it.
All right.
When you can look at a young Ja Morant who is in his third season of the league and say you can see him as a leader of his Grizzlies team, even when he's out there playing well. But when he comes into the team, he's like you don't get that from Jason Tatum. It's
From
like,
Jason Tatum, I disagree with you. I disagree.
Well,
I get it. I see it. You know what I mean?
Yo,
They look to him.
It's because in play
Marcus.
he uses his talent, G-Star, to take
Marcus.
it. That's all he uses. He's
Marcus.
going to play good, but that's not leadership.
Let's give Gunners Boss. Gentlemen, we're about to wrap up. Let's give Gunners Boss a chance to make a point he was trying to make. What you said, final shot?
Marcus Smart would have more be a leader on that team. Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown don't have that leadership quality with them. Them don't have that kind of, them can ball, but them don't have that kind of qualities to lead the team. Marcus Smart would be the more vocal person.
Right now, even Al Harford right now strikes me as more of someone trying to, exert that kind of leadership quality.
Al Harford
They're all leaders. They're all leaders.
The veteran on the team by right, So
and that's why the team is like that, though.
Yeah, he's the veteran. He's the one.
You don't need so many leaders.
No, man, that's not a bad thing. You can have several leaders.
Yeah,
it's a bad thing because it's not working.
Look at it like this. Al Harford should be the one who take this set of young players as a veteran and take them on his back and lead them, but he's not doing that either. So I don't even know. Them need a good, strong veteran man around them to take them and bring them, LeBron James just said he's not leaving. Well, on there. LeBron James just said he's not leaving the Lakers. He will play there for the rest of his career. I'm just reading on ESPN. But that is a man who would have take that team and bring it to a next level because they could have drape up them like a youth and carry them. Because them come to that quality now where they are where they call in the middle of them career. So them need a strong veteran to lead them. That's how me see the Boston Celtics team. But from 1 to 5, let me say this and run. From 1 to 5, they are still a better team on paper than Chicago Bulls. But I think Chicago Bulls have more heart than them.
All right, Gunners Boss. Give thanks for your input right there, Bridget. We have Pagan 180 saying if Celtics are gonna keep Tatum and Brown together, Tatum has to be a lockdown defender. He says Al Harford, all foot at this point. We said it on our last podcast. For me, and this is my opinion again, I think this is after this year is either one or two things the Boston Celtics are gonna do. Either they're gonna bring in that leader that we're talking about, that third person who will be the linchpin, or we're gonna see similar to what happened in Portland. We're gonna see a breakup of Brown and Tatum, similar to how CG and Dame has been broken up. Gentlemen, I must say thank you very much. Preacher and Reggie, I got said to you, but I appreciate and I respect your basketball acumen, my brethren. We're going to ask you, I know he's a busy man, but we're going to ask you whenever we're doing this podcast, we're going to ask you if you be a member of the team. I like your contribution tonight, my brethren, and looking forward to having further discussions with you. G-Star, as usual, I tell you, you are the second best basketball analyst in Jamaica. Second only to yours, truly. We know some people disagree with that. So in Christian, solid as usual, my brethren. I want to give thanks to Kems. I want to give thanks to Gunners Boss. I want to say big up to everybody who have joined us in the chat tonight. Big up to everybody who was on the stream. We give thanks. And this has been another, a series around the NBA. My name is Pioneer. And this is I Am Sure Sports. People, we're asking you share, like the video. So everybody who's watching, we're asking you to like the video. This is how we get the YouTube algorithm to spread so we can get more viewers. If you like what we're doing here, we're asking you to share. And I Am Sure Sports has one of the widest sporting content for a local sporting channel. So we're asking you people, subscribe to this channel. Help us to grow. Help us to expand. All right, and we'll continue. We have new programs coming. Look out for something that we're calling the I Am Sure Top 10, where we'll be looking at the top 10 in every sport in a lot of different positions. We'll be looking at track and field, cricket, football, basketball, tennis. All right, that is something to come, people. So subscribe to the channel. like the videos. Again, I say I'm Pioneer, and this has been Around the NBA. And this is I Am Sure Sports. And we're out.